Last night, January 12th, was the inaugural Chicago Bulls 2024 Ring of Honor, where the organization was set to honor past greats that helped to push the franchise as one of the finest in the NBA today. This was likely meant to be a way to jumpstart and infuse some life into a Chicago Bulls team and fandom that is sorely missing the heyday of the 90s. Honoring past greats such as Artis Gilmore, the late Jerry Sloan, Tony Kukoc, among others, and most notably the 1995-1996 Chicago Bulls, led by Phil Jackson, Michaeljordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman. Probably the greatest team ever assembled. What should have been a night of great nostalgia and hope for the future turned to a night of misfortune and seeing the ugly side of fandom. Before I go any further, please hit that like and subscribe button. Helps the channel out and certainly will help us reach that goal of 1K we are so close to. Thank you. The first and most scathing misfortune was the treatment of the late former general manager Jerry Krause of the Chicago Bulls from 1985 to 2003. The boos raining down from the packed Chicago United Center just showed the foul and inhuman side of our fandom. If you don't know, Jerry Krause was the one that assembled those teams that won 6 rings and three-peated twice throughout the 90s. During that time, he had notable feuds with his heiress himself, who at one point called for a change in management during his tenure with the Bulls due to his not so favorable social skills. Scottie Pippen was ready to walk and take his talents elsewhere due to the very same reason, and Krause is widely considered the reason the 1998 Chicago Bulls, the last Bulls team to win a chip and the team that still holds the highest rated NBA Finals to this day, disbanded. Having pushed out Phil Jackson from his coaching duties, and as such, Mike wanted no part of a return and Scottie wouldn't re-sign. He was famous for keying the phrase, "organizations win championships," which irked Jordan and the rest. With all that said, without Krause, that franchise may not have ever touched an NBA Finals, let alone become the recognizable team it is today. So booing his widow during his piece was classless and just wrong. Even if they didn't like how things ultimately completed, he was still responsible for many of those banners hanging in that arena. Him, the person, should have been put on the back burner to celebrate him, the general manager. But ultimately, his wife had nothing to do with it, so her being in that awkward space to represent him should have felt special instead of humiliating. Luckily, Bulls greats such as Stacey King and Steve Kerr, who was both honored and coached his Warriors to a win against the Bulls team, let those fans know how disrespectful they were and how embarrassing to the organization that was. Kudos to them, and what could have been a great night with stories circulating through social media and the internet about how professional and special that night was, allowed this to become the top topic of interest. The other misfortune, of course, was the fact that neither Michaeljordan, Scottie Pippen, nor Dennis Rodman showed up. Rodman, understandably, could not due to bad weather and still was able to send in a video thanking the fans and organization. Mike, for whatever reason, chose to also show up virtually and send a speech that spoke of his gratitude for the organization, his teammates, as well as the fans. Scottie, well, from what I've seen, just decided not to show up. I just recently published a video before the events of last night detailing the feud between Jordan and Pippen and hoped that this would be a place for them to come together and mend their differences. Unfortunately, that was not the case, and the fans that paid good money to see those guys with the rest of that 96 team had to watch the Jumbotron for pre-written speeches and one that just didn't feel the need to say anything. That capped off what had already become a night that may live in infamy with that Bulls organization. If I were the crew that put this together, I would feel mildly disappointed. The fact that they took this leap to honor past greats and make it a big event, and the biggest news from it is how the fans reacted to one former employee, is most likely disappointing and aggravating. As a former Bulls fan, I was excited for this night and hoped I could catch a glimpse of it. Now I'm glad my scouring the net didn't pay off and I didn't have to witness this, for lack of a better word, failure in real time. Congratulations to all those that were honored, and that franchise truly helped catapult the NBA as a whole here in the US and beyond. But unfortunately, fans seem to have a long memory and the inability to forgive or forget. So what do you guys think? Was the inaugural Ring of Honor for the Chicago Bulls a success or resounding failure? Let me know in the comments section. Also, if you want to ascend to GOAT status like number 23, please like and subscribe to the channel and help us reach that 1K goal. Thank you and hope you enjoyed the content.